The October wind carried the scent of autumn leaves and the distant aroma of concession stand hot dogs across the football field at Cass Technical High School as 17-year-old Destiny Williams adjusted her blue and gold cheerleader uniform for what would be the last time anyone from the ordinary world would see her do so. It was Friday, October 26, 2014, and the homecoming game against Detroit Central High School was about to become the setting for one of the most mysterious disappearances in Detroit's recent history. Destiny was a senior at Cass Tech, one of Detroit's most prestigious public high schools, known for producing scholars, athletes, and leaders who went on to change the world. She was the captain of the varsity cheerleading squad, an honor student with a 4.0 GPA, and had already been accepted to the University of Michigan with a full academic scholarship to study biomedical engineering. At 5 feet 6 inches tall with an athletic build, warm brown skin, and natural hair styled in intricate braids adorned with blue and gold ribbons, Destiny embodied the school spirit and excellence that Cass Tech prided itself on. She lived with her grandmother, Dorothy Williams, in a well-maintained house on the east side of Detroit, not far from the Detroit River. Dorothy had raised Destiny since she was 8 years old, after Destiny's mother, Angela, died in a car accident, and her father proved unable to care for her. Dorothy was a retired teacher who had spent 35 years in the Detroit public school system and had instilled in Destiny the values of education, community service, and never giving up on your dreams, despite the challenges life might present. Destiny was beloved by her classmates not just for her academic achievements and leadership in cheerleading, but for her genuine kindness and her ability to encourage others to reach their potential. She tutored struggling students in math and science, volunteered at local community centers, and had a reputation for being the person who could make anyone feel included and valued. Her best friend, Jasmine Carter, often said that Destiny had a special gift for sensing when people needed help and for knowing exactly what to say to make them feel better. The homecoming game was one of the biggest events of the school year, with alumni, families, and community members filling the bleachers to support the Cass Tech technicians as they faced their cross-town rivals. The atmosphere was electric with school pride, and Destiny was in her element, leading the crowd in cheers and keeping everyone's energy high throughout the game. Jasmine Carter, who was also on the cheerleading squad, remembered that Destiny seemed especially focused and energetic that night. She kept talking about how this was going to be a special night, how she could feel that something important was going to happen. Jasmine later told investigators, "I thought she was just excited about homecoming and about possibly winning the game, but looking back it was like she knew something we didn't." The game was intense, with both teams fighting hard for the victory. Cass Tech was trailing by 3 points in the fourth quarter, when their star quarterback Marcus Johnson led a dramatic drive down the field that ended with a touchdown pass, with only 2 minutes left on the clock. The crowd erupted in celebration and the cheerleaders were jumping and cheering with explosive enthusiasm. It was during this moment of peak excitement that something extraordinary happened. According to multiple witnesses, including several students, parents, and even some players on the field, Destiny seemed to glow with an unusual light as she performed what would be her final cheer routine. The glow was subtle at first, like the way someone looks when they're backlit by stadium lights, but it became more pronounced and seemed to emanate from within her rather than being reflected from external sources. Coach Sarah Martinez, who supervised the cheerleading squad, was watching from the sidelines when she noticed the phenomenon. "At first I thought it was a trick of the lights or maybe the reflection from her uniform sequins," Coach Martinez explained to police. "But then I realized the light was coming from Destiny herself, like she was radiating some kind of energy. She looked more beautiful and radiant than I'd ever seen her." As the final seconds of the game ticked away and Cass Tech secured their victory, Destiny led the team and crowd in the traditional school fight song. Her voice carried across the stadium with unusual clarity and power, seeming to inspire everyone present to sing with more passion and unity than anyone could remember experiencing before. Jasmine noticed that Destiny seemed to be looking directly at specific individuals in the crowd as she cheered, making eye contact with students who were sitting alone or who seemed sad or disconnected from the celebration. It was like she was making sure everyone felt included in the victory, Jasmine remembered. She had this look on her face like she was saying goodbye to each person individually. The game ended at approximately 9:45 p.m., and the cheerleading squad gathered on the track to take group photos and celebrate with families and friends. Destiny participated in the first few group photos, but as the crowd began to thin out and people started heading to their cars, She told Jasmine that she wanted to take a few minutes alone to absorb the moment and appreciate her last homecoming game as a Cass Tech student. "I'll meet you at the car in 10 minutes, Destiny told Jasmine. "I just want to look at the field one more time and think about all the memories we've made here." Jasmine understood the sentiment and went with other squad members to help load equipment into Coach Martinez's van. When she returned to look for Destiny 10 minutes later, her best friend was nowhere to be found. The initial search was casual, with Jasmine and other students calling Destiny's name and checking the obvious places where she might be: the locker rooms, the concession stand, the parking lot. When these searches proved fruitless, Coach Martinez contacted school security and asked them to help locate their missing cheerleader. Security guard William Thompson, who had worked at Cass Tech for over a decade, organized a systematic search of the entire school building and grounds. The security team checked every classroom, bathroom, storage room, and outdoor area on campus. They reviewed the security camera footage from around the stadium and school entrances, but found no indication of where Destiny might have gone. The security cameras showed Destiny participating in the post-game activities until approximately 10:15 p.m., when she was seen walking toward the center of the football field by herself. The camera angle and lighting made it difficult to see exactly what happened next, but Destiny appeared to stop in the middle of the field and look up at the sky, as if she were watching something that wasn't visible to the cameras. The footage showed Destiny standing motionless for several minutes before she began to move in what looked like a slow, graceful dance or ceremonial movement. Her arms were outstretched, and she appeared to be spinning slowly while looking upward. The image quality was poor due to the nighttime lighting, but witnesses later said it looked like she was responding to something or someone that only she could see. The most puzzling aspect of the security footage was what happened next. Destiny appeared to begin glowing again, more intensely than she had during the game, and the light seemed to expand around her in a sphere that grew larger and brighter until it overwhelmed the camera's ability to record clear images. When the brightness faded, Destiny was no longer visible on the field. By midnight, when Destiny still hadn't been found, Coach Martinez called Dorothy Williams to inform her that her granddaughter was missing. Dorothy arrived at the school within 20 minutes, and her immediate reaction was one of deep concern mixed with a strange sense that something spiritually significant had occurred. "Destiny's always been special," Dorothy told the gathering of school officials, security guards, and early arriving police officers. Even as a little girl, she could see and feel things that other people couldn't. She talked about having a mission to help people, about being called to do something important with her life. "I always thought she'd become a doctor or a scientist, but maybe her calling was something different." The Detroit Police Department was contacted at 12:30 a.m., and Detective Lisa Washington, who specialized in missing persons cases involving minors, arrived at the school to begin the official investigation. Detective Washington had 15 years of experience with missing teens and knew that the first 24 hours were crucial for finding them safe. The investigation began with interviews of everyone who had been present at the game and who might have interacted with Destiny during her final hours. Hundreds of students, parents, teachers, and community members were questioned about their last sightings of the missing cheerleader and whether they had noticed anything unusual about her behavior or appearance. The interviews revealed a consistent pattern of observations that was both fascinating and puzzling. Nearly everyone who had interacted with Destiny that evening described her as seeming more than herself, more radiant, more confident, more spiritually present than they had ever seen her before. Many people mentioned the unusual glow that seemed to surround her, and several witnesses described feeling inspired or uplifted just from being in her presence. Marcus Johnson, the quarterback who had scored the winning touchdown, told investigators that Destiny had approached him after the game and said something that he found both encouraging and strange. "She told me that I had the power to inspire my teammates to greatness, but that I also had a responsibility to help them heal from pain and trauma that they might not even know they were carrying," Marcus explained. She said that sports could be a form of spiritual healing for both players and fans if we approached it with the right intention. Similar accounts came from other students who had brief interactions with Destiny during her final evening. She seemed to be giving each person a specific message or insight that was particularly relevant to their personal struggles or spiritual development. Many students reported feeling a sense of peace and clarity after talking with her that lasted for days after her disappearance. Dr. Michael Roberts, the school principal, shared his own brief encounter with Destiny from earlier that day. "She came to my office during her study hall to talk about her plans for college and beyond," Dr. Roberts recalled. But instead of talking about her career goals, she spent most of the time asking about the history of our school and the students who had attended here over the decades. She seemed particularly interested in students who had faced significant challenges or who had died young. The search for Destiny expanded beyond the school grounds to include the surrounding neighborhoods, local hospitals, and anywhere she might have gone if she had left the school on foot. Her cell phone was traced to the football field where she was last seen, but the device was found to be completely dead, despite having been fully charged earlier in the evening. Destiny's social media accounts showed no activity after the game, and her bank cards hadn't been used. There was no indication that she had planned to leave or that she was experiencing any personal problems that might explain a voluntary disappearance. By every account, Destiny was happy, successful, and looking forward to her future. As the first week of the investigation progressed without any leads, Detective Washington began to consider the possibility that Destiny's disappearance involved elements that were beyond conventional criminal investigation. The consistency of witness reports about her unusual appearance and behavior on the night she vanished suggested that something extraordinary had occurred. Dr. Angela Thompson, a psychologist who consulted with the Detroit Police Department on unusual cases, was brought in to analyze the witness reports and to provide insight into what might have happened to Destiny. Dr. Thompson had experience with cases involving spiritual emergencies and altered states of consciousness, and she found the pattern of observations about Destiny to be highly unusual. What we're seeing in these reports is consistent with accounts of individuals who experience what some traditions call spiritual translation or assumption, Dr. Thompson explained. Throughout history, there have been documented cases of people who seem to transcend physical existence during moments of intense spiritual development or when they were called to serve a higher purpose. The first year after Destiny's disappearance passed without any concrete developments in the case, but reports began to emerge from current Cass Tech students and staff about unexplained experiences that seemed to be connected to the missing cheerleader. Students reported feeling a comforting presence during difficult times, particularly during academic stress, personal crises, or moments when they felt isolated or hopeless. These experiences were most commonly reported in areas of the school where Destiny had spent the most time: the gymnasium, the library, the chemistry lab where she had conducted research, and especially near the football field. Students described feeling suddenly motivated to work harder on their studies, to be kinder to their classmates, or to pursue opportunities they had been afraid to attempt. Jasmine Carter, who was now a senior and had become the new cheerleading captain, experienced what she believed to be direct contact with Destiny during a particularly difficult period in her own life. Jasmine was struggling with depression following her parents' divorce and was considering dropping out of school when she felt what she described as Destiny's presence during a late-night study session in the library. "I was sitting alone crying over my algebra homework and feeling like I couldn't handle anything anymore," Jasmine explained. "Suddenly I felt this warm, peaceful feeling, and I heard Destiny's voice as clearly as if she were sitting next to me. She told me that I was stronger than I knew and that I had the power to help other students the way she had helped me. It was exactly what I needed to hear." Following this experience, Jasmine's academic performance improved dramatically, and she began mentoring younger students who were struggling with personal or academic challenges. Many of the students she worked with reported feeling inspired and supported in ways that seemed to go beyond typical peer tutoring. Similar accounts came from teachers and staff members who described feeling guided or supported during difficult situations involving students in crisis. Math teacher Carol Davis reported that during her most challenging classes, she would sometimes feel a presence that helped her understand exactly what each struggling student needed to hear or learn. "There were times when I would be working with a student who seemed hopeless about math, and suddenly I would know exactly the right way to explain a concept or exactly the right encouragement to offer," Ms. Davis explained. "It felt like someone with perfect understanding of both mathematics and human psychology was helping me reach every student." In the second year after Destiny's disappearance, the phenomena expanded beyond the school to include the broader Detroit community. Young people throughout the city began reporting encounters with a teenage girl who appeared during moments of crisis or important decision-making, and who provided guidance that helped them make positive choices about their lives. These encounters were reported by students at other Detroit high schools, young people in community programs, and teenagers who were facing challenges with drugs, violence, or family problems. The descriptions consistently matched Destiny's appearance, but witnesses noted that she seemed to radiate an otherworldly peace and wisdom that felt both teenage and ancient. Kevin Martinez, a 16-year-old from Detroit's southwest side who had been considering joining a gang for protection, reported an encounter that changed the direction of his life. According to Kevin, he was walking home from school through a dangerous neighborhood when he was approached by a girl who looked like the missing cheerleader from the news reports. She started walking with me and talking about how I had leadership abilities that could be used to help my community instead of to survive in it, Kevin explained. She told me specific things about my family and my dreams that she couldn't have known, and she helped me see that I had choices I didn't realize I had. Following this encounter, Kevin joined a community youth program, became an advocate for nonviolence, and eventually received a scholarship to study social work in college. He maintained that his meeting with the mysterious girl had been the turning point that saved his life. Dr. Patricia Williams, a sociologist at Wayne State University who studied urban youth development, became interested in the reports of the helpful spirit and began documenting encounters throughout Detroit. Her research revealed that young people who claimed to have met the mysterious girl showed measurable improvements in academic performance, reduced involvement in risky behaviors, and increased participation in positive community activities. What we're observing is a phenomenon that's having real, measurable positive impacts on the lives of young people throughout Detroit, Dr. Williams explained. Regardless of how we choose to interpret these encounters, they're correlated with genuine improvements in youth outcomes across multiple demographic groups. In the third year, the reports reached the attention of national media and researchers who studied unexplained phenomena. Destiny's case was featured on several television programs about missing persons and supernatural mysteries, which brought additional attention to the ongoing reports of her beneficial influence throughout Detroit. Dr. James Mitchell, a consciousness researcher from the University of Michigan who had studied similar cases in other parts of the world, visited Detroit to investigate the phenomena firsthand. Dr. Mitchell conducted interviews with dozens of young people who claimed to have encountered Destiny and found their accounts to be remarkably consistent and credible. What's happening in Detroit represents a new category of post-disappearance phenomena, Dr. Mitchell explained. Rather than the typical ghost sightings or poltergeist activity that we sometimes see in missing persons cases, we're documenting what appears to be an evolved form of consciousness that's dedicated to youth mentorship and community healing. Dr. Mitchell's research revealed that Destiny's influence was particularly strong among young people who were facing the same types of challenges that many Detroit students experienced: poverty, violence, family instability, and limited educational opportunities. Her presence seemed to help young people develop resilience and hope in situations that might otherwise lead to despair. The Detroit Public Schools Community District officially acknowledged the positive impact that reports of Destiny's presence were having on student motivation and academic achievement. While they couldn't endorse supernatural explanations, school officials noted that students throughout the district were showing improved outcomes that correlated with the timing and locations of reported encounters. In the 5th year after her disappearance, Cass Technical High School established the Destiny Williams Foundation for Student Excellence, dedicated to providing mentorship, tutoring, and scholarship opportunities for students who demonstrated both academic potential and community service commitment. The foundation was funded through donations from alumni, community members, and national supporters who had been inspired by Destiny's story. Dorothy Williams, Destiny's grandmother, served on the foundation's board and spoke regularly at schools and community events about her granddaughter's legacy. Dorothy had come to believe that Destiny hadn't been lost, but had been transformed into a form of existence that allowed her to serve a greater number of young people than would have been possible through conventional means. Destiny always said she wanted to help heal the world one person at a time, Dorothy explained during foundation fundraising events. Maybe she found a way to do exactly that, just not in the way any of us expected. The foundation's work attracted volunteers from throughout Detroit and beyond, including many young people who credited encounters with Destiny as inspiration for their own commitment to community service. The organization became a network for positive youth development that extended Destiny's influence far beyond individual supernatural encounters. In the 7th year, advances in security camera technology and digital enhancement allowed investigators to reanalyze the footage from the night of Destiny's disappearance. The enhanced video revealed details that hadn't been visible in the original analysis, including what appeared to be figures or lights in the sky above the football field during Destiny's final dance. The enhanced footage showed what looked like a shaft of light extending down from somewhere above the stadium to surround Destiny as she performed her final movements. Within this light, there appeared to be shapes or figures that weren't clearly visible, but that seemed to be interacting with or welcoming Destiny into their presence. Dr. Sarah Chen, a video forensics expert from the FBI who analyzed the enhanced footage, confirmed that the images hadn't been doctored or manipulated. "We're looking at genuine visual phenomena that were captured by the security cameras," Dr. Chen explained. "While we can't definitively identify what the lights and shapes represent, we can confirm that something extraordinary was happening in that location at that time." The enhanced video evidence provided objective documentation that Destiny's disappearance had involved phenomena that couldn't be explained through conventional understanding. The footage was studied by researchers from multiple universities who were investigating the relationship between consciousness and physical reality. In the 8th year, the Detroit Police Department officially reclassified Destiny's case from missing person to unexplained disappearance with ongoing community impact. Detective Washington, who had been promoted to sergeant, acknowledged that conventional investigative methods had been exhausted and that the case represented something beyond typical law enforcement experience. "We've documented that Destiny Williams disappeared under extraordinary circumstances and that her influence has continued to benefit young people throughout our community," Sergeant Washington stated. "While we can't provide a conventional explanation for what happened to her, we can confirm that her legacy continues to have positive impacts that are measurable and significant." The 9th anniversary of Destiny's disappearance, October 26, 2023, was marked by a community celebration at Cass Technical High School. Current students, alumni, faculty, and community members gathered to honor Destiny's memory and to celebrate the positive changes that had occurred in Detroit's youth community since her disappearance. The celebration included performances by the current cheerleading squad, speeches by young people who credited Destiny with helping them overcome challenges, and the announcement of new scholarship recipients from the Destiny Williams Foundation. The event was held at the football stadium where Destiny had last been seen, and many attendees reported feeling a particularly strong sense of her presence during the ceremonies. 3 days after the anniversary celebration, October 29th, maintenance worker Jerome Washington was cleaning the bleachers in preparation for the next weekend's game when he noticed something unusual wedged between the seats in the section where Destiny's family and friends typically sat during games. Partially hidden beneath years of accumulated debris was a piece of fabric that appeared to be part of a cheerleader uniform. When Jerome pulled it free, he discovered it was a blue and gold Castech cheerleading jersey with Williams and the number 17 on the back, the same jersey that Destiny had been wearing on the night she disappeared. Jerome immediately contacted school administration, who notified Sergeant Washington and the family about the discovery. When the jersey was examined, it was found to be in remarkable condition despite having been missing for 9 years. The fabric showed no signs of weather damage, fading, or deterioration that would be expected after nearly a decade of exposure to Michigan's harsh climate. More mysteriously, the jersey appeared to have been recently cleaned and carefully folded before being placed in the bleachers. Laboratory analysis confirmed that it was indeed the same uniform Destiny had been wearing, with traces of her DNA and the specific type of fabric softener that Dorothy Williams used in her laundry. Inside the jersey, investigators found a carefully folded note written in handwriting that matched samples of Destiny's writing from her school assignments and personal journal. The note was dated October 26, 2023, exactly 9 years after her disappearance, and contained a message that provided the most direct communication from Destiny since her vanishing. The note read, "To my family, friends, and community, I want you to know that I am safe, fulfilled, and exactly where I am meant to be. My disappearance was not a tragedy but a transformation that allowed me to serve a purpose greater than I could have imagined in ordinary life. I exist now as a guardian and mentor for young people throughout Detroit and beyond. My consciousness has evolved to a state where I can be present with anyone who needs guidance, encouragement, or simply the knowledge that they are not alone in their struggles. Every student who has felt inspired to study harder, every young person who has chosen education over self-destruction, every teenager who has found the courage to pursue their dreams despite obstacles, I have been there with them, offering the support and love that every young person deserves. This jersey represents my connection to the school and community that shaped me and my ongoing commitment to helping others reach their potential." I leave it here as proof that service to others can transcend every limitation, including the boundaries between life and whatever comes after. To the current students at Cass Tech, you have within you the power to transform not only your own lives, but the lives of everyone around you. Never underestimate the impact you can have through kindness, dedication, and refusing to give up on your dreams or on each other. To my grandmother Dorothy, thank you for teaching me that love is the most powerful force in the universe and that our highest calling is to use our gifts in service of others. I am living that lesson now in ways I never could have imagined. To future generations, remember that every act of encouragement, every moment of mentorship, every choice to lift others up instead of tearing them down contributes to healing our community and our world. We are all connected, and we all have the power to be light for each other. I am not gone. I am transformed. I am not lost. I am found in every young person who discovers their strength, in every community that comes together to support its youth, in every moment when hope overcomes despair. With eternal love and commitment to your success, Destiny Williams, class of 2015. The discovery of Destiny's jersey and her message provided closure for her family while opening new understanding about the nature of her transformation. Rather than mourning her loss, the community began to celebrate her evolution into a form of existence that allowed her to serve a far greater number of young people than would have been possible through conventional means. The note was shared with students throughout Detroit public schools and became a source of inspiration for young people facing their own challenges. Many reported feeling renewed hope and determination after reading Destiny's words, and teachers noted increased student engagement and academic performance following the jersey's discovery. Dr. Mitchell, the consciousness researcher, analyzed the jersey discovery as the most significant evidence yet for the continuation of individual consciousness beyond physical existence in service of community healing. Destiny has provided us with objective proof that dedication to helping others can persist and even expand beyond conventional biological limitations, he explained. Cass Technical High School retired Destiny's jersey number and established a permanent memorial display that included her uniform and her message. The memorial became a place of reflection and inspiration for students, and many reported feeling motivated to pursue their goals after spending time there. The Destiny Williams Foundation expanded its mission to include research into consciousness development and community healing, establishing partnerships with universities and research institutions to study the relationship between spiritual evolution and social change. Dorothy Williams found peace in knowing that her granddaughter had achieved the ultimate expression of her calling as a community healer and youth mentor. She established a scholarship program specifically for students who demonstrated exceptional commitment to helping their peers overcome challenges and reach their potential. Jasmine Carter, who had graduated from college and returned to Detroit as a teacher, incorporated Destiny's story into her curriculum and mentoring programs. She helped students understand that their individual choices and actions could have impacts that extended far beyond what they could see or measure. The truth about Destiny Williams' disappearance was not that she had been abducted, killed, or had run away from home. Instead, she had undergone a transformation that allowed her to transcend the limitations of physical existence and become an eternal guardian and mentor for young people throughout Detroit and beyond. Her jersey, preserved in perfect condition for 9 years before being discovered with evidence of her continued consciousness and commitment, proved that her service to others hadn't ended with her disappearance, but had evolved into something far more powerful and far-reaching than any conventional life could achieve. Destiny had become living proof that the highest forms of community service could transcend every boundary, including the distinction between physical and spiritual existence. Her story demonstrated that some people were called to purposes so profound that fulfilling them required evolving beyond ordinary human limitations. The students who continued to benefit from Destiny's guidance learned that education, community service, and commitment to helping others were not just paths to personal success, but sacred vocations that could transform entire communities and create positive change that lasted for generations. Through her example, Detroit's young people understood that their individual struggles and triumphs were part of a larger community healing process, and that they all had the power to serve as lights for each other, just as Destiny continued to serve as a light for all of them. Destiny Williams had found her ultimate identity not as a missing person, but as an eternal guardian, whose presence brought hope to struggling students, inspiration to dedicated teachers, and proof that the bonds of community and the commitment to youth development could transcend every limitation, including the boundaries between life and whatever magnificent transformation awaited those who dedicated themselves completely to serving others.